Okay, thank you for clicking on this video. I know that the title is super dramatic, but it is true, and I just need as many people as possible to click on this video so I can educate them and give you more information on what it is like to see the warning signs of a stroke. I've been contemplating for a couple of years on filming this video, and I just never did. And in light of the recent events and the unfortunate passing of the actor Luke Perry, who was only 52 years old, who either died directly from a stroke or complications after the stroke, I'm not too sure on that. It's because of that event that I started thinking about it again, and I called my mom. I asked her if it was okay for me to share our story, and she gave me the green light, because as much as I'm going to be talking about my point of view, how everything transpired, it did happen to my mom, so I wanted to make sure that she was okay with me sharing this information. And today is Friday, March the 8th, International Women's Day, and there's no better day for me to share the story about how I almost lost the most important woman in my life, which is my mom. Okay, so right now we are 2019. I'm turning 29 this year. This summer will mark the anniversary of my mom's stroke that happened 2 decades ago, so 20 years ago. I was 9 years old and we were on holiday. We were actually in Turkey. Okay, I need to just relax, guys. Hold on. Just let me... I'm fine. It's not... I don't get emotional talking about it, but there's a lot going on in my brain because I want to get it all out. You know what I'm saying? So let me just... Okay. Okay, so as I was saying, my mom and I were on a holiday in Turkey. I think we were either in Antalya or Kemer. I was so excited because my mom got a great last minute deal. We were in a 4 or 5 star hotel, I'm not so sure. And we were having the best vacation I have ever had. And yes, even though I'm 9, I can say that because every year we went on a different vacation. Big props to my mom for making that happen. But that was such a great vacation until that one specific day. So the hotel was a large hotel, between, I want to say 500 or 1,000 rooms. And so on that specific day, I remember being very excited because we just booked an excursion for the next day. We were going to go on a boat ride or jet ski. I'm not completely sure. I think it was a boat ride to another island, and then like a picnic or a barbecue over there, and then come back to the hotel. We were sitting by the pool, and I wanted to go get a drink. I wanted a Sprite. I remember this precisely. I wanted a Sprite, but I was too afraid, or I was shy, and I didn't want to go to the bar area by myself, even though it was a couple of feet away. So I asked my mom to come with me. So my mom said, of course. She stood up and she was walking behind me. So as we were walking, I hear her saying something from behind me, but it was mumbled. She was trying to say Sprite. And I remember being so caught off guard about the way she said it that I turned around and I looked at her, and I saw her face just drop to one side. Afterwards, we found out that the stroke happened on the right area of her brain, so that means that your left side is completely numb. If it happens on your left side of the brain, the right side will go completely numb. So I'm standing here looking at my mom. Her face is completely like this, like her eye is drooping, her mouth is drooping, and she's trying to talk to me. She's trying to let me know that she's not feeling okay. I'm just freaked out by looking at her. So I said, let's go back. You need to sit down. So she's sitting down, and she's not making a scene, but she's like, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. My head. She's doing a lot of that. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, I should have never asked her to come get Sprite, because maybe she got up too fast and that's why she's feeling, I shouldn't have asked that. So I'm just sitting there staring at her silently, because at this point, people next to us were already crowding around us, right? So at that point, that lasted for like a couple of seconds, like 20-30 seconds, that her face was like that. All of a sudden her face was kind of back to normal, and then she said, this is the most crazy part of the story. My mom said, my head feels like it just exploded. I need to cool down. So my mom went and jumped into the pool, which was right in front of us. I'm very well aware that at that specific moment we did not know what was going on, and that's how she felt, and that's what she felt she needed. But hindsight, this could have gone in a completely different direction, and it was just crazy. So she literally jumped in the pool. She came back up. She walked the stairs to come back out, and she literally just got out of the pool, and all of a sudden, bam, she collapses. Okay. So, and the people next to us were still there, so they saw it. They immediately ran to her. Out of all the people in that hotel that specific day, there was a doctor sitting right next to us. So if people tell me, God's not real, or the universe, I don't believe in all that stuff, I don't care. That was the most significant thing that could have happened in that moment. There was a doctor right next to us who immediately knew what was going on, and he was saying that your mom is having a stroke. There's something in her brain. So when she collapsed, her whole side is completely gone. So now the face is dropping, the eye is dropping, her hand is not doing any, like her whole shoulder her whole shoulder dropped. She's unable to walk at this point, which are very clear signs that it's a stroke. As soon as the face drops, guys, and not just the mouth, you see all the muscles in the face. It's like a light switch. It literally goes off. If the person says that their head feels like it's on fire, like a bomb exploded, like a fuse, the electric fuse in your house, like that just shut off, there's a complete blackout, that's when you call 911 immediately. You can come back, you can make a full recovery from a stroke if you get medical attention as soon as possible. That is really critical, guys. So if you see a stranger, your loved ones, if you hear a slurred speech, you see the face dropping, you see the hand going down, they can't walk anymore, or they're wobbling, you need to call 911. In Belgium, 100, where, whatever the number is where you are, call them immediately. time is very crucial at that point. So the doctor is sitting with my mom. Well, I mean, the doctor that was on holiday is sitting with my mom. He laid her down on the beach, you know, like the stool that goes like that. I don't know what, the beach stool? I don't know what it's called for whatever reason right now. So he laid her down. The hotel staff had already called 911 at that point. They were only like a couple minutes away. I'm still just in our area, in the area that my mom's at, and I'm just sitting there, and I everybody's asking me questions, and I give them all the information that I can. I'm like, yes, that's my mom. Her name is da da da. This is my name. I'm 9 years old. Whatever. The good thing as well is that my mom, when we used to go out, whether it was just to the pool, the beach, or out the hotel, she has her handbag, but in the handbag is like a little Ziploc or a little bum bag type of deal that had all our information, like passports, credit cards, debit cards, her health insurance. So everything was super convenient. So all of a sudden, it all felt relatively short, to be honest. Like, everything happened so fast, which is again something that I'm so thankful for. The ambulance people were there and they asked for all our information, so I just gave them the satchel, the bum bag, whatever it was. Everything else we had left at the pool, so our towels and some clothes and whatever was just left at the pool. They were going to take care of it, give it to the hotel staff, whatever. And then we went in the ambulance, and all I remember from the ambulance is my mother like panicking, like screaming. And I remember looking back at her one time, but there was way too much stuff going on, and my brain really told me to not look, because that was going to probably leave scars, way more scars, or be way more traumatic than what had already happened. So I just remember looking out the little window at the back of the ambulance and just staring at the road. There was a lot of mountains, a lot of rocks. We then got to the hospital, and they were going to perform some type of scan on my mom. And they asked me if I wanted to go inside with my mom and stay with my mom. And I said, no, I'm completely fine outside. And I did not want to go in there and see my mom like that. Then the nurse left and went into the room, and I just heard my mom screaming so loud, and the nurse came back out and told me, like, listen, she's not letting us do anything unless you're in the room with her. And the door opened, and I just heard her scream like, Keyshaszone, like screaming my name in agony, So I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go inside. But I went inside, and she immediately calmed down as soon as she saw me. And my apologies, guys, the camera keeps shutting off. So I'm aware that my mom wasn't apologizing, just to apologize to me. It was more of like, the situation we're in is just you and I. We're in a foreign country where English is not the first language, or the second or third or fourth, especially not in that time. That's all I remember from medical procedure wise, because I think at that point I just felt safe enough to kind of let my guard down and have the other adults take over, if that makes any sense. And so a lot of the talking between doctors and my mom, I blocked out. So I actually texted my mother to send over some information that I do not remember. Okay, so when we got in the hospital in Kemer, so the doctor came in the room to introduce himself, and after 10 minutes, my mom had to call him back in. because she was having a very bad headache again. And when I say headache, it's next level. Also, the person who is happening to will definitely explain that it's different than a regular headache. The way that they explain it might be different. One says explosion, the other one says completely blank, but they will all express that it's not a regular headache. Just like migraine patients are able to tell the difference between a regular headache and a migraine. And her face was drooping again, her left side. So we went back into the ambulance. We went to Antalya for an MRI. Then she had to stay in the intensive care for 3 days. After that, she went back to a regular room, and she had to be connected to, they connected her to a type of IV with special medication, obviously. For 2 weeks, she had to have that IV. And at that point, our trip was actually already over. So I want to say she had to stay for 14 days in total. I could only stay for an extra 5 days or a week because that was the end of our trip. Remember at the beginning of the story where I told you that I asked my mom to join me to go ask the bartenders for a drink, for Sprite, because I was shy, I didn't want to go alone. That event completely changed me. It's the singular event that happened in my life that made me strong, independent, outspoken, and an extrovert. Because I had to, in a matter of a couple of days, as you can imagine, I had to grow up real quick. My dad was not able to come to Turkey. He was in Belgium dealing with work commitments. So it was just my mom and I, accompanied by a male nurse, I went to the hotel on Friday. I thought that he was going to help me, but that was not the case. He actually just waited for me outside. I went up to our room. I completely packed all our bags. I cleaned the room, and I went downstairs to the hotel lobby and checked us out. I hadn't been back to the hotel since my mom had her stroke. I remember the hotel staff telling me, "Oh my God, your English is so good, and thank goodness you speak English, and I cannot believe you're 9 and you're doing this all by yourself, and we're thinking of your mom." And I am very thankful for the fact that I wanted to say half American, that my dad taught me English at a very young age, that I was able to speak and converse with everybody that I needed to. So I checked us out of the hotel that Friday, went back to the hospital, and I was talking to another nurse, a female nurse, that was such a light of the whole trip. She was great at what she did, and I was talking to her about how sad I was because we were supposed to go to the market and buy a couple more things because I really wanted a pair of jeans or whatever. And so the nurse was like, "Well, I can come with you." And I'm like, "What?" And my mom said, "Yeah, okay, sure, why not?" So I literally went with that nurse to, it wasn't the souks, or maybe it was. We went there together, and I got my pair of jeans that I so badly wanted, and some tops and like random stuff. But guys, I was 9 years old, and you know, I don't know. I wanted to go to, I don't know what to tell you. And then the next day was hard because I had to leave my mom behind. And even though I knew that she was in great care, because that private hospital was amazing, great staff. It was a great hospital. We really lucked out. But I was still sad to, you know, leave my mom behind and not really understanding what caused the stroke in the first place, and just not knowing when she was going to be going back home, because at that point we didn't know that it was going to be for 2 weeks. Also, I was scared because I realized that I had to fly by myself. So the female nurse that I was talking about earlier, she actually brought me to the airport, and she spoke with the stewardess, you know, the ground stewardess, and explained the situation in Turkish. And it was already notified, of course, that there was a minor going to fly by herself because of this and that, and then they have somebody special accompany you. So I don't remember much about just being in the airport. I remember being on the plane and sitting in the front, and there was a dad and his son next to me, and they were like, "Oh, you're flying by yourself?" And I'm like explaining the story. I'm like, "Yeah, it's not by choice, you know, my mom is still in Turkey," and kind of explaining what happened. And that's all I remember, except that, again, the stewards on the plane were amazing. They always made sure that I was okay, and you know, yeah, just making sure I was okay. And then I landed in Belgium, in Brussels, Belgium, where my dad picked me up. There was somebody at the gate accompanying me immediately. You know, the stewardess would bring me out, and then telling the person at the gate, like, "Yep, this is Keysha, she's the one that's flying by herself." So they would go with me to the baggage claim, and then to wherever the parents or whoever was to pick me up. My dad was there to pick me up. And before I had left Turkey, actually, my mom's best friend at the time called her and said that they were on a holiday in Spain. My mom's best friend, her daughter was my best friend. So she called to say that they were in Spain on a holiday, and for me to come down so that I would still have a holiday, and that this would not be like the last thing of my summer vacation that I have as memory, you know? And my mom said, "Yeah, sure." So when I arrived in Brussels, I don't remember if it was morning or night. I just remember that we had to hurry up and wash everything, because the next day, they had booked my flight. The next day I was going to go to Spain. So the day after that, I flew by myself to Spain. And I'm telling you guys that the whole summer vacation is something that has really shaped my life and made me the person who I am today. Even though there's a lot of speculation on what causes strokes, and there's so many different studies, and people, you know, there's a lot of that. What the doctor said that caused my mom to have a stroke is a combination of taking birth control, smoking, and stress. And I guess that was like a deadly cocktail for her. They did explain, you know, if this happened and the medical assistance didn't go as fast as it did, or it could have happened during her sleep, and then she wouldn't have survived. Strokes are deadly. That's a fact. But again, if you react fast in the situation, there's 100% recovery. And that's the most important thing that you need to take away of this video. And I want to reiterate, if you hear somebody mumbling, stumbling their words, face drooping to one side, and I'm not just talking about the mouth, complete face. You see, this is also a very significant spot, like the eyes and the eyebrow is a very significant spot where there's a lot of muscles. That will droop as well. It would literally go down like that, and then the mouth, you see the nose also, it's literally the complete half of one side of the face will go down, then the body will go down. They are either stumbling or they're not able to walk, move at all. They also tell you about the head issue, like there's a explosion that happened. All of those stuff, guys, are all warning signs, and you need to call medical help as soon as possible. I'm very thankful that my mom has no issues from that event. She's able to walk, talk, move around like normal. The only issues she really has right now is loss of muscle in her eye area, but not completely. It's not even something that other people would pick up on. It's something that people that close to her are able to tell. And she's slower when speaking. When she's trying to explain something, and in the middle of the sentence she may go completely silent and is trying to figure out what to say or what word she's looking for, and that's in any language, whether that's in English or in her native tongue, Dutch. She's just thinking, her thinking is slower when it comes to speaking, but that's the only thing that she's still dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And to be honest, if that's all, she's a-okay, you know. And it could have gone completely different. The story could have gone completely different, and I'm just very happy for the doctor that was on holiday sitting next to us. I'm very happy for the excellent service that we were given in Turkey. And for a lot of years, everything that was connected to Turkey was negative for me. I even really strongly felt that the next time I would enter Turkey, step foot in Turkey, that somebody would die. Like, that's 1000% how I felt. And then I go and get married to a Turkish dude. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, so that's the story, guys. I hope that I was able to explain and convey everything that I wanted to. It is so unfortunate that Luke Perry passed away from this. He was only 52, still very young and very much doing great before, because he was in Riverdale, I believe. He was acting in Riverdale before this happened. So I think that was it, guys. If you have any questions for me, please go ahead and leave them down below. I didn't want to go into detail of what hospital or the doctors, because I didn't think that that was necessary. But if you have any more questions, definitely let me know. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention that after those 2 weeks, my mom was put on a plane, and then she went straight to the hospital in Belgium. She worked in a hospital, so that's the hospital that she obviously wanted to be at. And then she stayed a couple more days or a week or so there. And when I came home from my trip from Spain, she was already home. And that was a very emotional reunion, is the word that I'm looking for. I thank you so much for watching this video. I know that this is a an extremely different video than normal on my channel, but I really felt compelled to share my mom's story, and I hope that it helps one person that watches this. So I thank you for watching, and then I will see you in the next video, which will hopefully be a lighter video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.